Sorry?
I didn't really hear what you said because of the music.
Oh, yes. We are on time, so we can start or wait in 5 minutes for another joiners.
Cool.
It's up to you.
Depends a bit, like, how many are we already? So it's 20 people already in here.
Well,
I mean, are we tight on the overall timing? I think we have like, it's a 4-hour workshop, right? So the official end date is at 4 p.m. 50, so 10 to 5.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some people coming. I mean,
Okay.
until we can start, maybe I'll just give a brief introduction why I am here. So my name is Oliver. I'm part of the MOOCSec, or actually the B-Sides Mesh 21 organizer team. I'm very happy to welcome you all to the workshop with Bruno today about open source threat hunting. My role is basically making sure that everything runs smooth from a technical perspective. So I mean, it's not too much, it's Zoom. And also we have the Slack channel. If you want to chat, it's best to use Slack directly because then you don't have to move between the Zoom and Slack window. So if you ask any questions or so, you can go to the Slack. And if you have any technical issues with joining the Zoom, probably not, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. But if there's anything technical that I might be able to support, like setting up VirtualBox, if there are some issues, you can also ask me to not interrupt Bruno. I try to help as much as I can. And yeah, apart from that, I wish you all a lot of fun in the workshop. I hope we will, and I'm pretty sure we will learn a lot from Bruno. And now I will hand over to Bruno. And thank you again for hosting the workshop and for sharing your knowledge. Greatly appreciated. So, let's start.
So thank you, Oliver. You're welcome. We're here to support our community. Welcome, everybody. I'm Bruno. I'll be hosting today's workshop through the threat hunting perspective using open source technology. I know we have some people from Latin America. It's very early on a Sunday. We have people from India. It's maybe already almost night at India this time, from Europe. So please be very welcome. Okay, I'll talk a little bit first about me. Okay, I'm Bruno Guerreiro Diniz. I'm from Brazil, in the north of Brazil, state called Pará, very close to the Amazon forest. I'm also co-host of kind of some community project here in Brazil, the Open CTI, that we talk about CTI and cyber threat intelligence initiative for Brazilian community. SOC Brazil, we talk about SOC perspective, right, for the defense perspective for community as well. And a little bit earlier, the Clean DNS project was a DNS firewall project developed to using IOC's perspective to defend the network. I'm very passionate by my region. So a little bit about the SOC manifesto, what we are going to talk about today. Oh, Microsoft being Microsoft. Sorry about that. We have a kind of words about what's the SOC manifesto, right? So our intent is to prevent, detect, and outcome violations, right? Before they hit the target, before they create a crisis on a company. So most of the time when we are talking about defense, we are mostly talking about prevention. But what is important is that prevention is not always enough, right? Maybe everybody knows a little bit about that. And we need to create perspectives to detect and to react to threats before they become crises, right? Not before they hit the target, but before they become real crisis. So that's what about we're talking about today. for hunting. Okay, so our agenda today will talk a little bit about what is threat hunting, what can we do about threat hunting, why should we hunt, when should we hunt, what should we hunt into, IOCs, what is IOCs, TTPs, which kind of tools can we use to hunt a little bit, and what should we hunt on, like network traffic, host behaviors, some insights and hypotheses for hunting. And after that, we'll play a little bit, or we'll go forward and back to play a little bit with the hunting workshop and back to text to discuss a little bit. Okay, so what is hunting type and data source, IOC forward detect and hetero detect, TTP hunting and hypothesis on the daily basis routine hunting. Okay, any questions up to now? You can chat to the Zoom as well. I can read here. Okay, moving forward, a little bit about the context. What is threat hunting actually, right? So for cyber operations and cyber research and development for hunting, maybe you already know or saw something like the pyramid of pain yet. Pyramid of pain is a kind of concept for cyber threat intelligence that we can go from the most operational and basic information that is actually what we call IOCs as file hashes and IP addresses, domain names, host names, up to the most complex ones that is actually TTPs with kind of techniques, tools, and procedures that the threat actors realize on some incident or some attack. Okay, so most of it, considering the hunting and cyber threat intelligence capability to detection, you always see kind of IUCs are commonly based and used for operational perspective to integrate to CMs, to integrate to log management platforms, as we are gonna do today with Graylog. And TTPs will commonly be used in kind of research, detector engineering, threat hunting that is most likely or more closely to research and development scenarios. Okay. You already knew about the pyramid of pain. This is new for you. Any questions about this? Please don't be shy. Nice. This is new for you, Shagan. I speak correctly your name. So pyramid of pain is embedded on the cyber threat intelligence perspective. It is very well common to talk about the pyramid of pain on detection engineering or hunting perspective, because here we are looking what kind of information can we hunt for. We can hunt for IT kind of information like hashes, domain names, file names, host names, IP addresses, and etc. And we can hunt for behavior are TTPs. So we need to understand a little bit what kind of information we are dealing with when we start to hunt. Oh, okay. We will talk about TTP on the next slides. Okay. So when you probably knew or read something about the CyberQ chain methodology as well. CyberQ chain was created by Lockheed Martin Corporation to briefly explain what is an attack, what is an attack can look for, kind of phases when an attack comes on a cyber attack. Most of the time we have recognizing and weaponizing that are what we call pre-attack phases. Pre-attack phases where when the actor is studying and recognizing the target, with kind of vulnerability it has, with kind of exploits or use cases they will use to infect the target, like planning a phishing campaign, something like that. And after that, it will start the attack phase itself. Thank you, X. You start the attack phase itself to delivering, exploiting, controlling, command control and objective. But the point is, all of those phases can lead us to IOCs, right? Probably in this part, when the actors start to recognizing our target, recognizing us, we are not compromised yet, but he is recognizing, he is pre-attacking us. For a very clear perspective is Shodan. Maybe you already know about Shodan platform. Shodan platform is a assessment platform, can I say, the network worldwide, and it start to index IPs from global internet, and you can search there for IP address and environments, all kind of, and made all kind of queries there to hunt for a specific version of Apache server, specific version of IIS server, for instance. So in this case, the attacker is recognizing its targets. It start to pre-attack, so they can understand what kind of companies are able to have an direct connect interface, like a firewall access. It kind of company have an RDP server, a remote desktop server exposed. So the point is, okay, Shodan is not an attack itself, but Shodan information is a well-known indicator, a compromise indicator that you can use to understand if your network is being indexed outside, if your network is being processed and indexed on the Shodan platform. And you can understand that as a vulnerability that you need to close, for instance. Okay. So mixing up the cyber key chain to the attack methodology, right? The MITRE attack methodology. We will have the recon and weaponize as a pre-attack methodology in the MITRE key chain. And after that, all those deliver, exploit, control, execute, and maintain will be handled by the attack for enterprise environment in the MITRE. So MITRE always use another taxonomy, like initial access, execution, persistence, privilege escalation, so we can understand which kind of phase, which kind of actual TTP, and we'll talk about very soon what is happening to the environment. That is the in question, because in the cyber chain methodology, you can say, okay, right now, the attack is in the exploit phase. Okay, but what's exploit? What's actually happening? How this exploit comes? What the attacker did itself? So that's why the MITRE create the attack perspective, so we can verify and understand which kind of technique, which kind of procedure that the attacker did. Okay. So in general, he and we will start to call as TTPs. Okay. A little about SOC tooling, right? When you have a SOC, when you have a defense environment and monitoring environments, you start. This is by Gartner, right? You start basically with CM or some kind of logging processing unit. After that, you have threat intelligence and sandboxing information. network traffic analysis and endpoint analysis, user behavior, security orchestration. So Gartner says that you probably have some maturity steps to hit. And the good point is we can have most of that using open source technology, right? That's why we created this workshop, is to let people know that defense and security can be simple, can be not so costful. Of course, you have some infrastructure to support, but you don't need to worry about license itself. So, okay, most people you say Graylog and EOK are not a CM completely, true, but you can have most of it as a log management platform and alerting platform. And we can use MISP, Cuckoo, Sysmon, Wazoo, a couple of tools to complement this environment and use those environment as defense perspective, hunting perspective. Have you know about one of those guys and girls? Sorry, which one you already use? Please don't be shy. Come to the light. Good. Some people know a little bit of Sysmon, Hive, nice. ULK, Wazoo, Security Google. Nice. We have a couple. Very nice. So let's talk a little bit about hunting. Okay. What's happened when we will start, or at least we'll create a kind of hunting perspective? What's the common way about the detection and defensive methodology? Most of the time, we need to have visibility. We need to have information from the environment, right? So we will start to work on the visibility layer, right? And the visibility layer we have in general framework called Detect that can support us understand what kind of information we have, what kind of tools and technology that company and or our team has to maintain, to sustain information, to gather visibility from the environment, right? Most of the time, and here's the catch about the threat hunting. When we call about threat detection itself, the detection engineering itself, normally we go to visibility to detection through a detection use case, right? So we create kind of rules on a CM platform or rules on a log management platform, and that rule will trigger an alert on an alarm, right? So we have visibility to detection through a use case. Okay, this is fair enough. But what if some use cases are very hard to fine tune? Some use cases has a lot of false positive perspectives. Some use cases that I'm creating today will only trigger alerts and or anomaly from today to the future. If I'm already have that anomaly in the past, I can't see that, because we have to see on a timeline the visibility, and I have today, and the detection engineering, probably I'll have tomorrow. But if that anomaly, if that alarm detect was in the environment from today to tomorrow, the detection use case will not see that. It's impossible to understand that. So that's when we enter the hunting way. In the hunting way, normally we talk about the past. So we have the understanding what's the problem, and we want to see if that problem already happened in the past, or that problem can support us to fine-tuning detection use case, for instance, or that situation can help me understand if I need a detection use case at all or not, right? So uh, there is not such a good or bad about using that hunting versus detection use cases. We need to use both of them. We need to have both of them on board on a defense scenario or in a defense perspective, you know. Okay. So the point is, when it comes to response, most of the time on a SOC environment, we have the visibility, the detection use case that will start for alarm to a response process, right? And when we have the hunting way, in general, we are acting as we have our incident already without detection. So we need to understand that hunting is also part of the incident response process. When we start to hunt something, if we need something very weird, something that should be more evaluated, we need to start an incident response process. We cannot avoid that. We cannot continue to hunt and note everything down and let the incident there. We should understand that the hunting maybe need to continue, but we need to start an incident response on that process. Good? Fair enough for everybody? Nice. So a little bit about context, why to hunt, right? So what is a threat hunter professional? A threat hunter professional is someone that proactively, that's the word that you're gonna see on every document and every website talking about threat hunting. It will talk about proactive actions, right? Proactive process, not reactive process from an alert. So that's the basic concept and separation between the threat detection and hunt. Threat hunt, we need to have proactivity. So to have proactivity, we need to have professionals dedicated to that, right? We cannot use a standard team to receive an alert to receive an incident, for instance, to handle. That is not hunt, that is incident response. We need to have professionals focus on that proactivity iteration. And after they started proactive iteration, okay, we can detect, isolate, neutralize advanced threat, and this is the incident response part of the threat hunting. The threat hunting must start as proactive actions, and probably if you find something, okay, now you can handle as an incident response normal process. Okay. Remember, tooling are not enough. In the hunter should have a very well knowledge about process, about the environment, the company environment. That is the main goal and the main, how can I say, crowd jewels of the hunting process. The hunting process is more focused on the outlines, right? The outliers about the normal operation. So to understand what is an outlier in your normal operation, you should understand what's your normal operation, right? So this is not about having the tools, it's about having the insights, having about some good ideas about what is an anomaly for your environment. Okay, so some kind of responsibilities for the hunter should work together with the incident response teams very closely when they start to hunt and fight something. He need to handle, or he or she need to handle to the incident response teams. They need to search the cyber threats before they have to noise, right? The most of the importance is in the hunting is to understand and to bring some attacks, ATP, for instance, that is attacks happen and not yet become a crisis. So they need to, their focus is to clarify some situation that is happening and is not yet become an incident itself or a crisis itself. So for instance, consider in the an attack, a hunter will have success and when he detect command and control running on your environment, and that case is not yet an incident like a hands-on incident or a, data exfiltration yet incident. Is the attacker is there moving laterally, understand a little bit the environment, planning the next step, and the hunter can find that and outcome that. This is a threat hunting success perspective. Okay. So once the potential threats are identified, the hunter should have most of information. What can we do about the adversary as well? So in the hunter perspective, we have a little bit of threat intelligence ideas also to understand, okay, I should wait a little bit. I will not close this door yet because I need to understand which kind of adversary I'm dealing with, what this adversary are trying to do, which kind of adversary I'm working with. So it's kind of FBA environment. You need to, okay, I can't give too much space for him, but if I'm let him know that I know about him, probably he'll start like a answer. He'll start everything he has right now in the access. I need to understand a little bit about what the attacker or the adversary has in my environment. Most of the time, I can see one command and control channel, for instance, and when I'm very fast on that and close that command and control channel, he already knows that I'm sealing him. He can have another command and control channel and made all and run all actions that he wants to do. So I need to understand a little bit more about the attack, not to handle itself on just the first information that I can have. Okay. So how can we hunt? Basically, we have two ideas. One is the manual threat hunt, that is profiling the information, profiling the behavior. We can have understand what is the common information for our company, what the common baseline for our company, and what is the baselines for the threat, the baseline for the attackers. And we can start to use the security standard security monitors like antivirus information, firewalls information of those data embedded on a CM or a log analytics tool can help us a little bit. And if we have kind of a very specific statistical analysis tool like SAS or Power BI or another math tool that can support us to create statistics are very useful because when we start to hunt, most of the time we'll get some pattern behavior, right? So statistics can support a little bit for that. And we can start to auto threat hunt, right? So what is auto threat hunt? Automatize everything. You don't want to do the same hunt twice. You want to create the first inception, first insight about what you're going to hunt the first time. And after that, you don't want to reproduce that hunt once again. You want to automatize that. So you can create kind of playbooks for automatize that hunt using some tools, some workflow tool. You can use SOAR tool. You can use CM tools to reproduce the same queries that you create to that threat hunt process. And you can create even detection use cases from that hunt. So the most of the important thing is in the outcome to threat hunt. Uh, After to create a manual threat hunt, you should consider automatize that, because in that time that you hunted, probably you had non-incident, but if you reproduce that hunt same 6 months from now, you can have a different scenario. So you need to consider after manual threat hunt, how can you automatize that? Okay, good, good for now.
Yes.
Good. So when should we hunt for manual threat hunt? Uh, Basically, anytime. We can have some ideas and insights. When should we start to hunt something? Most of those are some related to fraud insights or CTI intelligence insights, like, okay, we have maybe some month from now. You probably saw that we had a globally issue with SolarWinds technology, right? And SolarWinds technology is a very common tool most of the world. So the insight could be, okay, I have SolarWinds. I have SolarWinds technology on my environment. Uh, am I affected? So now you have an insight for threat hunt. Probably you didn't have a detection use case telling that SolarWinds could be used to exploit your environment. Of course, nobody would have that. But now you have a very clear insight to hunt something. You can start now threat hunting using the information from the threat intelligence report related to SolarWinds, telling, okay, what's the behavior, what's the IOCs, the IP addresses, domains that the attacker was doing, and the pattern from the hostname pattern that they are dealing with. So now you have information to start your hunting. You have the hypothesis and you have the information to start your hunting. Okay. And you can also use new threads, new campaigns being discovered. Okay, in my environment, I'm here from Brazil, and Brazilian threads are very well common global wise, right? Mostly related to some bank trojans and bank actors. So every time we have a new campaign, uh, considering like Qbot, another Trojans, we need to consider about the new hunting, because uh, most of those campaigns are related to the end user, right? But the end user is a company user as well, and maybe can be a CFO, CFO of a company that can have access to the bank account from the company. And if you have a Trojan, a bank Trojan to your CFO, probably you have a lot of problem in your company. Okay. And after that, again, manual to auto, not auto to manual. We can recreate that every time. We can use all of the automations that we did in the past every time, recurrently, looking forward and looking back, looking forward and looking back. Okay? So basically, concept about IOCs and TTPs, some requested. IOCs are forensics, like, can we see evidence, as we sell kind of information when we have on an attack pattern. Okay, this attack used that file, and that file can have a hash, specific hash, and that hash can be used as an indicator of a compromise when we have that same hash in another company or in another scenario. We can say that probably that situation you have an attack as well. So that's why we call indicator of compromise. We don't know yet if compromised or not, but we should be worried about. Okay, so we have mostly IP addresses, domain names, file hashes, uh, user agents information, a lot of technical tools, right? Technical information like server headers, client headers. We can use a lot of things. And the text techniques and procedures, we're talking about the behavior, not the forensics information, technical information, but the behavior of the attack, the behavior of the attacker can reproduce in your environment. Okay. So tactics techniques are divided in the MITRE attack. Let me see if I have something. No, let's talk about a little bit. I'll get a pause here. Let's open MITRE. Okay. So we have here the MITRE attack, right? For enterprise, that is most common one. And we have tactics and techniques. Okay. Tactics are the what phases or the attack are dealing with. For instance, okay, initial access. The attack is the initial access phase, okay? And which kind of technique for initial access the attacker can reproduce? They can use a drive-by compromise technique, exploit the public-facing application technique. Like, for instance, we have exploiting a web application, SQL injection, cross-site scripting. This is all referenced as exploit public-facing application on the MITRE information. We can have a very common in Brazil as well, phishing techniques, spear phishing links, spear phishing attachment, spear phishing through servers or third-party information enterprise channels. We can have supply chain compromise. That was the case in the SolarWinds environment. We can have valid account information. For instance, you have been stolen some credentials, like malware that stole information from browser, from your PC, and okay, you have one person, a malware, a stealer, password stealer, and this password stealer give access to your VPN account, for instance, to your company VPN account. And that attack can start from a VPN perspective, getting to your Fortinet or getting to your Sophos, for instance, uh, appliance as a VPN access with a valid account and start the moving laterally from that VPN. So in that concept, you have an attack starting as a valid account, okay? And when we talk about the procedures after that technique, we can have some reference here. It kind of example, some procedure example, for instance, you know, the kind of this group, right? This Dragonfly malware group uses spear phishing campaigns to get victim access. So you have more information about which kind of procedures the attacker can do. Like, okay, let's get him back. Good so far? Doubts?
No, go on.
Oh, nice. Okay, so where should we hunt, right? Manually threat hunting, probably you try to hunt to historical data, like long-term, mid-term, short-term, based on hypotheses on a historical data. So here you start to realize to have hunting, you have to have data, a lot of data to be useful for hunting. So if you have a kind of, okay, I have a CM for detection that delete all logs 7 days after, this is not useful to hunt. This is useful for detection, but not useful to hunt. To have a real hunting, you should have the most of data possible. And most of that not even useful for detection most of the time, okay? You can have data useful for detection because you have the pattern, you have the detection engineering logic, but you can have a whole set of another data and whole set of other data like big data environments, Elasticsearch environments that are not being used for detection, but can be used for hunting. Those data can be used for a hunting perspective to understand patterns, to understand behavior about the environment. And after that, you can decide, okay, this is now useful for a detection use case. I should move that to a CM technology. Okay. And you can have also a forensics hunting. Forensics hunting is you have access to environment itself, to the PCs, servers, etc., using a kind of tool that you can have like a global control. You can search to all your environment. Okay, who has that file, that hash in the environment right now? So you don't need to log, you don't need the log. You need to have access to the environment and create kind of a command, a query to the environment. So common tools for that are Velociraptor, Google Rapid Response. You can have even SCCM, for instance, and create kind of batches, scripts that can collect information for you. Okay. And most of tools, the SEC standard tools, CM, log analytics, and for auto threat hunting, you probably have more real-time data being processed and a lot of big data analytics tools to automatize that. Okay? So what should we hunt for? Most of the time, we have those three aspects, right? We can have network IOCs like DNS names, IP addresses, URLs, SSL certificate, for instance. There's a very common command and control tool called Cobalt Strike. I don't know if you heard that before. And Cobalt Strike is very commonly that most of the attackers use the Cobalt Strike default certificate, right? It creates a SSL tunnel, but most of the attackers don't change the certificate. They use the standard Cobalt Strike certificate. So you can use the Cobalt Strike certification information, the SSL pinning and the SSL name, and for that certification, for hunt down if somebody is using Cobalt Strike to attack you. You know, you can have attack signatures, banners, user agents. Like instance, okay, you are monitoring your environment, you are hunting down some situation, and you are seeing a very unusual user agent on your proxy logs. Probably you need to hunt that down to understand what kind of binary is running that, what kind of information is being pull it from internet or is being pushed to internet using that user agent, that unknown user agent, for instance. Like covert channels, for instance, uh, proxy technology going outside, like SOC 5 technology, HTTP proxy technology, VPN channels. Okay, for instance, someone in your internal network is closing an IPsec connection to outside. You don't know what's the other side, the other company, or the other IP address. This is probably an issue, right? You can have a covert channel that you do not understand the traffic that is passing through. You can have protocols misuse, like, okay, you have a not HTTP traffic running through a TCP/80 port, you know. So this is a protocol misuse. You have a standard port for HTTP traffic that is not flowing HTTP traffic itself, HTTP application itself. This is commonly protocol misuse. Or proxy tunneling and pivoting information. For instance, pivoting is very, we have a couple of tools like ngrok. Ngrok is a tool that you can uh, handle access into your environment without a NAT access, because you can use a cloud infrastructure to give you a kind of IP tables NAT to your environment. They create a port redirector to your internal environment. This is also very well commonly used by attackers when you have no direct connection, for instance, no uh, port being allowed outside, like kind of a reverse port communication. Most of the attackers use some kind of pivoting tool like ngrok to create connections. You can have host IOCs information like file hashes and D5, I call in Brazil SHA-1, to 560 SSD, IP hash, uncommon scripting tools, like for instance, you can have a binary running in Windows that is called bash.x, right? Exe. This is very uncommon for a Windows perspective, you know. So you can have also uncommon binaries like SVC local, that is a common Windows binary, but running from the temp directory. This is very uncommon as well. You can have local user management activities like creating user, deleting user, moving users, creating local tasks, registering local tasks for when the PC start, security manipulation, destructive files like Hansor perspective. They start to delete a lot of files before they start to put that Hansor notice for you. And attack sequence like behaviors, you can have some patterns, like the problem itself is not the IOC but the behavior. So here we start to talk about the TTPs, right? Like an attack sequence, you have some process spawning, like you have an Excel file that is the parent process of a PowerShell. You have a PowerShell running after Excel, for instance. This is very commonly used in macro scripts and macro phishing campaigns here in Brazil. You can have also like direct exploit scenario that you can have the Apache process spawning a shell, spawning a bash, spawning a shell, sh itself, spawning a dash binary. This is very common for exploit information. Okay, good so far? About Sigma, normally you can use Sigma for, like I can see, develop your pattern, detection pattern, or even your hunting pattern. I'm not bringing anything about Sigma today, but we can talk a little bit later. Okay. Uh, and for IOC perspective, is very important to create kind of a decaying process, telling that, okay, the IOC database can be very huge. So we need to consider, okay, once that IOC was not seen, was not detected in my environment, when it start to decay, when it start to be flushed from my database. So this can be used by you, but anyhow you want. You can create your own decaying process by TTL lifetime decaying process in your MISP tool or another tool. But most of the time, there are a couple of information that is hashes are not TTL perspective, because once that file is considered as a malicious, that file will not change the hashes if the file is not changed at all, right? So once that artifact is hashes as malicious, will always be malicious. So in this case, the lifespan for that hashes is eternal, right? Will not be changed. But for CDR blocks, for instance, the IP address blocks, is better not use them as a IOC or a watch list. It's better use them only for whitelisting. For instance, we have the CIDR blocks for Akamai, right? Akamai IP address, the Akamai platform. The Akamai platform is not malicious. The Akamai platform can be used by malicious people, can be used by malicious where else, but the IP address and the IP ranges are not malicious at all. So you can use them to whitelist and to avoid a lot of false positives on the IP address type of hashes, for instance, type of IOCs, for instance. Okay, so this is only a little of recommendation. You can use URLs on a basic lifespan for 1 year, domains for something like 6 months, and IP address a little bit more closely for 3 months. And when you cite that IOC, you can create your own rule, for instance, to expand a little bit that lifetime. You can double like URLs for 2 years, domain for 12 months, and IP address for 6 months. Then can help you to keep watching that IOC, to keep watching for that information. And if that information is not citing anymore, you start to decay the process and to be out of your environment after that time. Okay. Okay. Here's some example of Sysmon. Okay. Some telemetry being generated by Sysmon. So in a example of a behavior that we saw in the Mitre attack, you have a Mitre attack technique that's using scripting to run malicious content that you can, for instance, check in this command line, okay? You have here a very clear command line telling PowerShell to bypass the execution policy. The execution policy normally is maintained to have a signed script by Microsoft, another user party. So when you see that in your log, you can see that the execution policy is being bypassed. This is a pattern of capable of malicious activity. Okay. Okay, so almost 5 minutes, 1 hour. We have a kind of the lab. You're able to run this lab on your VirtualBox or virtualization environment. Nice. This is the architecture that we use today, right? I didn't create a MISP OVA to avoid another VM running on your environment, but we have a MISP published outside that we will collect some information from there. In your lab zone, we have a Windows 7 with Sysmon and Xlog to sending information to the Graylog environment. And that Graylog environment we use as the log analytical database to see information from there. Okay? Doubt so far? Let's put the lab to work. Okay, I will add here another screen. Stop share. You can follow this, right? We have here the Graylog and the Windows 7. Of course, Windows 7 is not enabled, right? And the Graylog environment here. Just basic concepts in the Graylog. I saw that some of you didn't use it yet. This is the first time, right? So here we have the Graylog environment. The Graylog is a couple of tools, mostly of composed by a log processor and a log database. I will enter here the shell. Okay. This is the Graylog server. It's composed by 4 tools. The Graylog tool itself is a Java application running this log processor environment, right? It creates a web interface, it creates a input logs interface, the log processing unit, and log archiving unit. And for log archiving, we have also the Elasticsearch. The data, where the data is stored itself, is in the Elasticsearch environment. So we have here Elasticsearch also. Let me see what is that. Okay, it's running localhost. Let me see. Here. Here we have the Elasticsearch information, right? The Elasticsearch cluster name, the status is green, the number of Elasticsearch servers, number of shards running, etc. Blah blah blah. So that Elasticsearch database is where the Graylog we use to save the log itself, and we can have the same information here in the indices. Here we can create that we call index set, for instance. Okay, we can create a index set temp, for instance, temp. We can put the number of replicas. When you have an Elasticsearch cluster, you can have replicas to avoid losing the data. You can distribute the shards between that cluster information. The data policy rotation, for instance, okay, I want to have a rotation once a day, and I want to keep 30 days, for instance. And after that, it will delete the old data. Okay. So now I have an index, temp index set, and you start to create my indices. Temp 0, that is where I will save the new message for that index. I can create, like rotate, and it will create a new temp 1, and use the temp 0 only to search information, for instance. So you have one active read and write index, and all others are only read-only access, so that to avoid to have multiple index running at the same time, read and write running at the same time. Okay. So very basic. We have here on Windows 7. I'll open. Sorry about that. This Windows 7, we have the nxlog configuration. You already use it, nxlog. Nxlog is a tool to transforming and send information, send log message to another patterns, for instance. And we have here the input log for firewall traffic, you see? So we have input file from file type, running this log file. In this case, we configured the firewall log information to save, to log, drop it, and successful connections in all environments. See? So we can collect this information and manipulate as a log source. We have also a log source from Windows event log itself. Event log. Event viewer. And here in this query list, we filtered application, security, and system, for instance. Application, security, and system. Okay? So we are collecting all the information from events from these hives, right? These event sources. And we have also Sysmon input, right? In this query, and we select the Sysmon operational, that is here. Applications, Microsoft, Windows, Sysmon operational. So every time that Sysmon monitors some interface configured in the Sysmon policy, you save a log here in the event viewer, and the nxlog will collect this input and process in some output. So we have here some output configuration for the firewall information we will send to our Graylog machine on that port. So, okay, where we can see that in the Graylog. Here, system inputs. So we have the firewall running, firewall collection running on that port at final 1. The output type is Gulf protocol TCP, and we have here Gulf TCP port 1 collecting firewall. Okay? Output Sysmon port 2 Gulf TCP here. Output 3 Windows Event Viewer standard port 3 here. Okay, so I want to see which kind of message I've already logged from each one of these inputs. You can click here and show received messages. And okay, here we have all the firewall collected message so far. See? Okay, but the information is parsed already, right, on your environment. I did that for you to help us a little bit. We have here a couple of information with the action, destination port, protocol, source IP, source port, the full message itself. So where can we check that extraction? We can manage extraction for that interface. We have here the parsers, right? The processor parser. So we have here a configuration telling to split the information. Oh, let me open one. Okay. Collect this ID just to show and the index name. Okay, so here we have the log example and a split by extractor. I can say, okay, I'll split by space that is already here. Try target 3. That is 1 space 2 space 3. So I have here the action. I created that as a firewall action and call it this. In this case, the example would be that field allow. Okay, so I could try the same for field 4, field 7, etc. So in the Windows firewall log, you have data, time, action, protocol, IP source, IP destination, port source, port destination, and traffic normally. Okay? Going back to inputs, and we have the same for Sysmon logs, Sysmon messages. Okay, this is an example of Sysmon. Okay, the category process creation, the command line created. You have here the whole log itself in the Sysmon. You remember that we opened the event viewer? Here we have the information, the MMC opening the event viewer MSC. By whom? The terminal session. What's the image process? What is the parent command line? The parent image. So here we can see clearly a spawning process, right? We can see that explorer.exe open a mmc.exe using that as argument. Oh, sorry, you asked for the login credentials in the Graylog. It's just to let you know, everybody, it in the description, the VM description, you have the OS and the application information, okay? And if the Windows also closes, you have also the IP and the username as well. Okay? Getting back. So we have also, let me see, inputs, Sysmon. You saw that I didn't create an extractor yet. The Sysmon itself is not parsed. It's parsed automatically. Some things, some lines are parsed automatically by the NX log. Each line, it creates kind of field value information. So you have image field with this value, product field with this value. So we can check here. Parent command line, etc. Hashes, description, company, channel, blah, blah, blah. And we have the first task by our workshop. You remember that we talked that we can use hashes as OCate? Yes, both VMs are connected to the network here. Why? So they can get access to internet, okay? Let me see, add, remember, preference, network, okay? You have the network, so the VMs can go to internet. We use that for the Graylog as well, okay? And we have the host-only connection, so our host can connect to the VM because it is that is not possible on the network commonly. Okay? Doubts up to here? No? Okay. So for first task, you remember that we called it, we can use hashes as information for hunting, right? To create that as IOCs and hunting down IOCs. So first of all, in the Sysmon process create, it can create hashes or from the image perspective, okay? So every time that they create a process create log, they will create a hash of the image binary and bring to hashes line. But here we have a catch. The hashes line, we have value for SHA-1, MT5, 25560, imp hash, and etc. And we have here all those on the same line. That is a little bit hard for us later to hunt that down and to create some rules or analytical on top of that. So first, you will create an extractor about that. Using regular expression, for instance, right? Are you following? Okay, so far? Sure. So, I don't know if you already know, regular expression are the best friend of a hunting and a detection engineering. You need to understand it a little. So I normally use Rubular to support me. Rubular is a web application that can help you a little bit about running. Oh, I did not see any input for Sysmon, Fire, and Windows. Sorry, Moon. How do I get the Sysmon messages specifically? Inputs. Oh, I'm not doing that. Inputs. You can check if this input in your environment. Get Sysmon. Click and show received logins. You have logs here. Awesome. So here you have Sysmon logs, okay? Here is only Sysmon logs. So we have the Rubular to support us. So you can copy here the string you want and the test string. And now you can play with your regular expression. Very common standard way is, okay, which kind of value I want to extract? I want to extract this value, right? The first one, I want to extract the SHA-1 information. So I can start with, okay, SHA-1 here, equal, oh, and now I want my value. So this pattern I create to create a matching group, right? So right now, I need to put the pattern that I want from regex in that matching group. So here, basically, what we have a any word character, right? Or a non-white space character, something like that we can sell. Okay, so we can put, okay, slash S, big S, is a non-white space character. So if we put here, you can see when you add the plus, you are telling that you are using this configuration and more, okay? One and more. So when you're using S, you are not considering a white space. So everything here is a non-white space, right? So we cannot use that. SR hashes are composed by numbers and numbers and characters, right? Word characters. Here, letter, number, and underscore. We could use W because the next string would be this one, and is not matching our template. Okay, so here we have our first matching rule to extract SHA-1 hash, and we can store as field SHA-1 hash, for instance. Okay, we create the extractor SHA-1 hash, for instance. Okay, we created our first extractor. Okay, and we'll do that the same for MD5. MD5 hash. And the same for 60. Oops. Oops. Let's change the name. Data structure. And imp hash. Okay, good for now. So, see.
Bruno,
Wait.
some people are asking you to repeat the striking part.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
It's not clear for everyone.
Let's get back. From start, okay? We have here the log, the original log. Okay? And we need to extract this information. We have the one field called hashes. We have all hashes here, and we want to extract each one of them. So we can click, create extractor, regular extraction type, and you open this window where I can create the extractor template. Okay, so I can use Hubular to support me on that. If I want to extract this information from imp hash, I can use that expression. See? Is that value? Okay. Why that matters? Because of following here, as you can see, I have only the hashes, right? But let me consider that I'll open here any other thing. I will open the Firefox. Okay. So now I've opened Firefox, right?
I see it.
And we have the field hashes with full.
Yes, I see it too, and I have
And
it.
now we have the fields for each hash that we extracted.
Yeah.
MD5, the imp hash, SHA-1, and 260. So we extracted this value into multiple fields. Okay. Let me see, Kate. I'm not getting any logs up in the console. Use the search in all message, Kate. This is probably due to some Graylog data, maybe.
I see it. You do left clicking on the strings. So then you get the create extractor submenu.
Here? Oh, sorry. Maybe it, the create, here, you can see this?
Yes.
Create extractor? Oh, okay. Don't get the part how to extract the menu appears. And select extractor type is not open.
It's open.
Regular expression. Submit. Okay, now?
Okay. Okay, now I'm with you. Everything else is fine. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, let me see. Kate, you're not checking logs in the console still? Use our message. Let's see. And you can search again. Okay. Oliver, you can support Ingmar as well. Me too. Yes, I did, but don't get logs. What? Strange. Okay, let's see. You have the Windows 7 open, right? Let's see something. I will remove hit with no filter. Search on message. You can see any log here. Yep. Nice. Let's see them. Okay. Do this. Here. Source modern name. Show top values. Event log, fire log, and Sysmon. Oh, I'm sorry. No logs at all. K and Inmar. This is weird. You have Graylog and Windows running in the VirtualBox, the network adapter. Oh, weird. Oliver, can you support them?
I can try to. I guess it's something with the network configuration, right? So
Yeah,
maybe
probably. Yeah.
yeah. The question is, yeah, we should switch to Slack, and then I can try to give some hints on how to check if it's working.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
One question maybe, is it sending the logs via the 10.x IP or via the 192 IP?
The 192.
192, okay.
Yeah, we have, you can see here as well. Let me see. Oh, no. You have here in the
Yeah, I think it's an annex log.
configuration. Yeah, it's 192 in the next log configuration, you know?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's get back. We have most of us event log, firewall logs, and Sysmon, right? Okay, so we extracted the hashes that we're going to use. We have the firewall log already extracting IP addresses here. So destination IP, destination port, etc. Nice. Okay. So let me check the other PC. Where's the mouse? Oh. This publishing too. You can see this.
Yes.
Sure. Okay, thank you. Okay, so first of all, there are a couple important information for the IOC onboarding and in the environment. That is, okay, we have logs from the past, probably, and we have the IOC onboarding process. And the point is, when the logs are older from the IOC perspective, this will not be hit as a extractor, right? I don't have that IOC yet in the environment, so I can hunt that down. I probably need to look the past log to do that. So the point is, new IOCs, old logs, I can only use for hunting. New logs with live IOCs, I can use as detection perspective as well, right? So right now we are going to load some IOCs in the Graylog and see a little bit about how can we use that and create lookups and extractors on that extractor so we can use, okay? Stop, share the other one again. Okay, so we have here the Graylog. I've let a script here running. Oh, it's in the Chrome tab, I think, here. This script will download a couple of domains and IP and hashes information from a thread feed. So let's run here. Here. Okay, the feeds are up to date. And now we can run the processor. It will just organize and create some syntax. Okay. So right now, we have these 3 files called domains. You can see hashes and IP destination, for instance. Okay. So first of all, we need to onboard that information to the Graylog. We can go through. Let's consider something first. Okay. Let's have this IP address, right? I don't know what is that. That's why we need net to download something. Awesome. Very slow. Okay, I'll take this one, 99, 97, 246, 11. Let's see if we already hit that somehow. And okay. We have no log about this traffic or IP address at all in this environment. Okay, so let's be brave and let's click here. Nine nine 97 246 11. Begin and okay. So now we have firewall logs sending ISMP to this IP address, TCP connection 80 port to this IP address. Okay. Nice. Oh, still. Okay. Interrupted. I was only to do that. Okay. So right now we're going to onboard that to Graylog. Lookup tables. We have probably already have here hunting IP address. You confirm that? Look, we have that file here with the splitters, separators, codes, etc. IP destination here. right? And you can check. Let's see this one. Key and lookup. Okay. You have the field and the value. So when you use this lookup, you have the value called hit, for instance, okay? And we can do that same thing for the hashes. Take one. It's hit. And same thing for domain. And hit. Okay. And after creating the adapters, we can create only, it's obligatory one at least cache, right? You can create a man cached lookup table, is already created in your environment. And the lookup table definition, you mix the data adapter with the cache, so you can also hunt here, look up here, for instance, by the IP addresses, or I'll look up only the domain one. Okay. Here we have the TTL from the cache, etc., but we have the value here. Okay. So we can go back there. We're here. Where we look at that IP address, right? And what we can do now is to create an extractor that will look to that table to create. Oh, sorry. Can someone repeat this? How to do it? Or the then Xlog is working right now, Kate? These are already configured in your environment. Okay, you don't need to change anything there. So we can use it now using one example here, one traffic to create an extractor, lookup table, submit. Okay. Which lookup table we use? Hunting IPs. We are looking for IP addresses. Try, hit, right? We just need to create that. And we can store that as hit, for instance, or malicious hit. Okay, so far? Oh, thank you, Kate. Okay, so far? So we created a new extractor called destination IP malicious hit that will look into the lookup table, right? So that's the catch. Right now, the old logs are still here. I still have that IP address access, but if I'm looking for the existence of that field, destination IP malicious hit in the environment will be none. Okay, no log. Because this creator was, this extractor was created only now. And right now, if I running that again, probably, I hope so, will hit new logs.
How did you define the source module name firewall log?
Oh, it is defined in the NX log already. The NX log configuration here. Let me open that. NX log. Here is the input name.
Oh, I see.
No?
And Graylog is making use of it.
Yes, exactly. As you are passing as Guelph, right? The Guelph protocol, you have some metadata from the NX log. So now you have this is metadata from NX log. Including this event received time is the time that NX log received the message. So you have also this metadata, the file type is a metadata, etc. So right now we have a hit in the lookup table, right? The file destination malicious hit lookup table. So right now we can use that as automated alert, for instance. We could create like an alert with definition, for instance, new alert, IP malicious hit, for instance. And we put the condition, filter and aggregation, the query use it, the time frame, 1 minute, which time to run the query, just to create an idea.
Can you tell again how you navigated to the starting point of this event definition?
Sure. Yes, alert.
It was alert. Okay.
Event definition. Yep. Okay.
All
Right now, let's see. Run it again. Oh, probably you need to wait a couple minutes, 5 minutes. Oh, the time is, I think the log does not have some, yep. We have some arrangement in the time frame, probably. Yeah. Okay. So just so we can arrange. Oh, no. Yeah, it's the time frame. And you create the alert here. And you see it, we tested, right? They show, the Graylog will show, okay, we have a message that hit this scenario, this situation. So we can create a alert definition to look for the logs. right? And we can create that same thing with, for instance, hashes. Let's see now. The model file name, Sysmon, I think. Sysmon. Sorry. Okay, so we want now to hunt for the MD5 hashes in our database. Create extractor, lookup table, hashes, no result, okay. Malicious hit, for instance. Right? So from now on, we have an extractor to look for that database, hashed MD5 hash database, and look if it is embedded in some malicious activity from our database. Okay. But the point is, we are creating a look forward. We are embedding the IOCs now and looking for the new logs, right? Not the old logs. We can also use Graylog to look back in the past with this new data set from IOCs. We can use the here, let me see, configuration, decorator configuration, okay? Let me see. Okay, we can use our message stream. Let's see which stream we are using. For instance, show topic values. We are using the stream all message, so we can use here all message, and we can create a kind of a decorator, lookup table, which source field, and we can use, okay, I want to look for this field. I will create a target field, okay, what I am going to call in this field, destination IP malicious hit decorator, and I will use this lookup. Great. Okay. So I'm created this decorator. Okay. What is that? IP address used. This one. Stream.
So Jochen, you said you can't hear anything. Is the audio not working for you, or?
Oh,
Now I can hear again, but there was silence for like
Oh.
5 to 8 minutes.
Oh,
Wasn't
yes,
some.
we are running here.
All right.
I think
I'm searching the log. I'm searching the log here. Right now we are checking the decorator here. You can see, Ralph. So the difference here is that this field was created by the extractor configuration, the lookup configuration. So you have this in this new log, right? The most recent log, you have this field that was created by when the log is coming, you check if that IP is in the IOC database or not, right? And the second field, the decorator field, you check the log and look for the new information from your IOC. So, okay, this can be a little weird, but right now, when you back to the first log at all, here, you have only the decorator. Because this first log was created before we have the lookup configuration in the extractor. So in this case, we are creating a hunting in the past activity. We have the IOC now and looking for the old data, you see?
And
So we
what
can,
was the entry point to the decorator? Was it also an alert or?
no, the decorator was in the configuration, Graylog configuration,
Okay.
decorator configuration. And you can select which stream you use to apply the decorator configuration.
So the concept of a decorator is a kind of way back machine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I see.
So you can hunt for information. In this case, we are hunting for IOCs in case in the past. Okay, right now, we have this information. Right now, we know that this IP address is an IOC. In the past, we didn't know that. So I want to know in the past where this IP address happened, you know? So you can use this information and create a decorator, put here in the, see, in the table, so we can see in the log where that came from. Since when that decorator was coming from in the past logs.
I see. And where do those IOCs have been provisioned from? I saw something on the shell, but it was rather fast.
Where the IOCs came from? They came
Yes.
from this configuration, the lookup table here.
And those were some files on the /etc/Graylog directory, right?
Yeah, it's here.
And where where were those logs coming from originally? Is a kind of download GitHub, or is this a MISP provider?
The IOC itself, you can have that integrated from many places. In our case, we are downloading from a GitHub that is processed by a MISP instance. You know, we right
And
now
it's automated, right?
Yes, it's automated right now. So we have here. And we have this IOC feeds, for instance, right? And we are processing that in Graylog.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we are collecting those feeds and putting them together on a single list on a CSV file, for instance, so Graylog can process that.
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
but you can do that with MySQL. You can do that with MongoDB. You can use that anyhow, and you can create and process all those IOC information and add that to the Graylog to process them. Right? Okay, let's consider one here. Basic one. All right. Okay. And Okay, so we have here a couple of access to Google DNS, right? We can see that it's okay, it's no malicious right now. So all the logs, the original logs, are not hidden by the lookup definition to create a new field telling this is malicious and etc. And is also not being used by the creator telling that is malicious. But let's consider that, please don't do that at home. This was malicious. Let's add here manually, for instance, a IP destination 8.8.8.8 hit and save. Okay. And just maybe it's better now. We add here 8.8.8 and hit just to simulate the new IOC coming to the environment. Okay, so right now we have a new IOC that came to our environment, but let's consider that this log is old. I'm not running this command again to ping the Google DNS. I'm only seeing that. I will force a little bit. You can see there is a check, retry check in the IP destination list that wait to 60 seconds, etc. Let's put here check interval just to force a little bit update. Okay, we can test to see if he found already the Google there. Okay, Google's there. Right now, we can run this again. And the creator now has updated to set, oh, we have a hit here. So what can we do for hunting perspective? As we can have our IOC feeds commonly updated, and we can, okay, I want to see all the logs, for instance. So we have here all the logs in this environment. Some of them had hit, right? Some of them had not. And I can extract that, for instance. Look, I have no limits. I'll start page. So we can have here the log and the decorator, where the decorations fill it. Here. Hit. The decorator is only filled on those logs. Those IP address, those communications. And we can also put here, for instance, okay, I want those fields. Which fields I want? I want the IP source field, add to table, IP destination field, add to table, port, add to table, extract. Those fields are here already.
A quick question about this extracts. Do you have planned to put in some break at some point? Like a 5 to 10-minute bio break?
Just we can have a 15-minute break and sometime, maybe just 3 minutes, just so we can see here. Okay, so we have here again the decorator hit. So we have now the IP address, the destination address, and the destination port, about which logs get in the decorator that is actually hunting in the past, right? Actually hunting the past, not hunting the live data. Okay, so we reproduce here the IOC onboarding configuration to Graylog. We reproduce here the detection for IOC in the Graylog for the new logs, for instance, coming. And we reproduce here the IOCs, using IOCs to hunt in the back, in the past for IP address. And we can do the same for hashes and domains and etc. So excellent question about the break. How about we have a 15-minute break, and after we can talk a little bit about some TTPs hunting with some real world examples. What do you think? Good?
Cool. Sounds great to me.
Okay, guys, 15 minutes?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
Yep, please, Oliver.
no, I just wondered, is it working now for everyone? I think we had some issues regarding the sources or the logs not coming in. One trick to solve it was to reboot the Windows machine. And then we had one issue where somehow an Xlog was not installed. So installing it then solved the issue. I don't know why, but Thora said it was not installed for whatever reason. I'm not sure if you used the regular VM that was available for download, but it's definitely makes sense. It doesn't work if there's no NXLog. If there's any other things, or if it's not working for anyone else, we might also use the break for checking what could be the issue. As I said, I also joined the first time, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but I can help as good as I can. And otherwise, yeah, let's have the break and talk then again at 3:30 our time. What's the time with you, Bruno?
It's 10:30.
Oh yeah, still.
So maybe we can have 10 and a half and 3.5 your time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Back. Okay.
Great.
So a little bit more than 15 minutes.
Thank you very much for the first part.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. See you soon. I'll put a mute here.
So it looks like break time is over. Yeah, guess if we are all back, hopefully, then we can continue with the workshop. As I said, I guess most of you have the environment running by now. Some people, I just read, gave up on using VMware and came back to VirtualBox. It's probably the easiest way to get everything running because that's how intended. And yeah. If Bruno, if you're ready, can hand over to you again. I think there was one question in Sysmon about in Slack and how to get the Sysmon logs. Do we have time to look into this quickly again? Yeah, so Bruno said so already. And I didn't see any other questions about something not working, so that's good. And yeah, as soon as Bruno's back, we can continue with the workshop. There's also one issue I found in VirtualBox. If you install the guest editions, for me, then the WinSest service is crashing from time to time. So it's probably best to not actually install the VirtualBox add-ons or the guest editions. It seems the display driver seems to make some issues then. Not sure if you have seen this as well, but I am a bit OCD in terms of installing guest editions and making Windows activated and stuff like this. It's not always good to do this. How is it working for the VMware guys?
Very fine.
That's good. Has anyone used any other tools for like threat hunting so far, besides the one that we were seeing? Or that Bruno's showing today?
I played around with the Hive a year ago or something, but I think it continued to stay in alpha base. So there are some incompatibilities. I was specifically about after having Sigma running and integrated, and there was some support by, I think, Elast Alert, but it wasn't really working for me, so I skipped it.
Okay.
You need quite a lot of space to run the whole stuff.
Good to know. And Kate mentioned she is using Azure Sentinel. Do you have good experience with it?
For me?
Kate said she's running Azure Sentinel. Okay, yeah, but is it good? Is it nice to use? I mean, Microsoft is doing a lot in that area, so I guess they hopefully make it also usable. All right. So then, yeah, Bruno, you're back. I hand back to you again then. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you, Oliver. So a couple of you asked a little bit on the Slack. Do we have a quick preview, right? Let's start from revealing the environment. We have here two equipments. The Graylog, that is the data processing, and the Windows 7, that will be our test bed, let's consider. We have in the test bed NX log, so we can extract the logs from the Windows to the Graylog environment, and this can be changed from a snare, NX log, file beats, logstash. There are a couple of tools that you can use for that. And in this NX log, we have basically three inputs: Sysmon logs that is being collected by the event viewer. We have firewall logs being collected by the file, the log file that Windows can create in specific endpoint to saving the traffic data. And we have also the event logs from Microsoft application security system, and etc. And this all is being embedded into Graylog inputs. In the inputs, we have the connections, the Gelf protocol from Graylog to collect the firewall data. Can we have here? You see the firewall log here. Where is it? Oh, here. Oh, you're seeing this, right?
Yes.
I think so. Okay, good. We have the firewall here. Where's my mouse? Stuck? Oh, no. Oh, here. And we have the input, the firewall output here. So we know which port host is sending the data. And probably you didn't see this part yet, is the route information. The route information in the NX log is where we specify that the input should goes to that output. Very simple. Input configuration here should go through this output configuration. So we have firewall log from one port, Sysmon log for other port, and Windows event viewer standard for other port. Like that, okay? So you can check even each kind of data by clicking the show receiving message, for instance, on the firewall, show receiving message for the Sysmon. Okay. So we have here Sysmon. Okay. All the data from Sysmon. If someone is using a different Windows machine, not the one we provided, or had some issue, if you installed nxlog manually, probably you did something with the Sysmon as well. So maybe you need to run Sysmon again, install Sysmon again. I'll show here manually how we can do that. Open command here. Sysmon. This is 32-bit, I think. I remember. Here you have the syntax. Y to install the servers and the drivers, and the configuration file that is here already. Sysmon. Like that. In my case, it's already installed, okay? Oh, and I need to launch that by an administrator. Users, John, download, Sysmon. Okay. In my case, it's already registered. The configuration is the same, etc. So there's no big deal. You can install again. here. As I'm running, you can see here the process I've run terminated and the process, the file created, etc. It created an attempt. So this is all Sysmon logs. Okay. Getting a little back in our environment. We have, I'll stop here a little bit. I'll publish the other one here. We have here our lab. We have an outside MISP instance that is publishing IOC exportation to our GitHub. And this IOC exportation to GitHub is being embedded to Graylog by the Git push and processing data to create a CSV file capable to Graylog to process that, okay? But here to be more helpful for you, you get access to our MISP. So let's threaddd.opencti.net.br. I've created a credential for you there. Well, again. I'll put that credential on. Let me try first, right? Yay, I'm not fooling you around. I'll put that on chat, right? Here you have the credentials. Here you have the URL. Okay, so in this MISP, we can use to collect feeds, external feeds, to process your own information, to integrate to your own sandbox. So in this case, we are running sandbox files, right? So we're running malware files there and integrating to this MISP. So in this case, the sandbox analysis run a file was a Trojan here, a handsome Trojan. We can have information, for instance, from virus total. Was that file? So we have here WannaCry sample, right? And this WannaCry sample with those information, packaging information, the file name. So we have here the hashes, MD5, SHA-1, 256, and all those hashes are being processed by MISP, sent to the GitHub as a field extraction. So you can see here, let's see, GitHub, OpenTTI. Thread feeds. Probably will be there in the hands-on feed. Let's search there. Raw. Here. So we have this MISP receiving the sandboxed samples, right? And extracting the hashes, sending hashes to GitHub, and those hashes are being embedded on our Graylog. So you have a CTI to detection platform where you can use as threat detection and where you can use that as threat hunting information. So in this case, we can have here, we have the sandbox analysis. We can go to sandbox.opencti.netbr, and you can use the same credentials I gave you. I'll add this as well. Let's only get the event ID. Pick just one. Oh, here we have the logic. And we can go for that report that we show. One. This one, right? So we have here all the information, the same information from VirusTotal, the actions, for instance, that this executable had. It crashed, okay? Probably have a packer to avoid VM running that. But I have some examples here for you. This one. I'll send that on chat as well. You can open there. Sorry, the environment is not so helpful. Oh, great. Go back sometime. Let's see this one. You can have here. We probably have this analysis. We can search that on MISP. Event info. See? Containing that. Here, we have that analysis in question. And in this case was process injector with a couple of information, a domain address and IP address related. Let's see. Now, okay. So have this file, right? What happened in that execution It has some process injection. It runs some command and control, probably information. Has some threads. Injections. So here we could run, okay, we have this domain, and we could use that to hunt down if our environment has this domain and IP address connection using the decorator or the detection itself configuration in the Graylog. So we can have the whole package of the CTI processing malware, extracting malware information, IOCs to the hunting environment, and hunting that down to forward and hunting that down in the past using the decorator configuration. Okay? So in this case, we have all data of that being processing here to the GitHub, and after that, I'll pause here again and go to the other PC, share screen. Select window. No. Okay. You can see that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let's go. And to bring that to Graylog, as we saw in the beginning, we have a script running here to update that thread feeds. So here we have the same feeds from that GitHub that we push to update that. And after that, we process on a couple of script. Bash script can be your preferred language, Python, Bash, whatever. In this case, we are only aggregating data, you know. Moon, yes, I can send all the slides, sure. We are aggregating data, for instance, for domains, for IPs, and for hashes. So we are just creating this file, right? We are aggregating from a couple of feeds and creating this CSV style file, you know. So right now we have this manually embedded here. So let's run this manually. You aggregate all data again. See? And update the list. In our case, we had manually added the Google DNS. Right now, it removed it. So in this case, we are aggregating data and bringing that to Graylog. In Graylog, we are configuring this data aggregated to lookup tables. Lookup tables need data adapters, in our case, using CSV styles, right? We can just show some other examples to create a lookup table. We can have DNS lookups to look up forward as from name to IP, or reverse, for instance, IP to name. We can have TXT lookups. We can have MongoDB lookups embedded on the Graylog MongoDB instance. And the most commonly one is CSV style, because you can create your own CSV, right? And use that as a lookup table. So you need just a cache configuration, or memory cache, or no cache at all. Those two options, no cache or memory cache. And after that, you create a definition, lookup table definition, that you mix a data adapter to a cache. Simple as that, okay? After that, you can use this lookup table in inputs, extractors, as we did to Sysmon, for instance. We extracted, remember, the SHA-1 hash, look, right? And in our case, we matched the MD5 configuration only to the hunting hashes lookup table. So we can do the same thing with SHA-1 hashes. We can do the same thing with imp hash, SHA-260 configuration, and etc. Okay? Doubts? The lab environment is understood, the data on board understood.
Yes.
Nice. Okay, so right now we can start to playing a little bit with malware itself, right? Not on your machine, please. But I have here a couple samples. Let me see, where is my mouse? Here. I will get here a couple where we will run that on the Windows 7. I'm added on the chat. If let's see, where's the chat? Chat here. Okay. So the good point in the VirtualBox Windows 7 configuration that we did, we created a snapshot. So once we run the malware, we can restore the snapshot. Okay. Let's get the first one. Enter box, open CTI. Let's put credentials. I'm too lazy. Okay, let's go. First one, analysis. 359. Hey. So we have our first sample here. This is a suspicious sample, right? It runs something, it's the same we did before. We can download, save. We have the sample here. Let's give him a executable name, right? Here's a P executable one, .NET assembly. Okay. So we have the sample here with all the properties, the proc change manager gives the same description that we have in the static analysis. Let me open a little bit here better. Look, proc change manager, the original file name if you want to use, the PI hash, strings. We can analyze the sample a little bit. But what's important here, you can see that couple of information useful, right? He collects some information and he sent to this account on Facebook. So that sample collects a lot of data from your PC. Is this a password stealer? It collects, you see, Firefox cookies, collects Firefox URLs, collects some couple of browser information, file information, credentials, and it's sent back to the actor on his Facebook account. But okay, let's run. Here, run as administrator to start to run. We can open the task manager. It's running, right? So here, let's go back to our Graylog. Message. We have here now a lot of action running. Right? Process being created. See? From the same company name. This is where we downloaded the file we downloaded, right? So we have here the MD5 hash, imp hash. Let's check this. Okay, we have this hash. Let's check if this hash is known. Hunting hash. No. Probably is old enough. what is running there. Okay. So let's see. Already stopped, right? I think. Let's see what happened. With kind of log. Let's see the Sysmon logs. With kind of type, category. Here. We have process creation, file creation, service changes that we run, registry, file stream. Let's check for process created. The command lines. Okay. Everything we did today, right? See?
Okay.
Now let's see the traffic. Something. So we have any decorator, maybe. Let's see. What's the IP address? One five one two three. He hit? Yep. He hit that IP, but that IP was not on our list. But we are able to find a malicious communication. Oh, let me close that. based on the malware analysis, right? We are able to find that actually we had a communication to that IP address here in that time, port 80 and etc. So we can have a clear show surrounding message like 1 minute. What happened at that time? Just to clear the filter. Oh, the time frame is a little bit strange, but we have here all the log, only the traffic log. Okay, let's do another one. Another link is 35972. Okay. What we have in this case, we have a couple of malware as well, Trojan activities, but we have here some credentials being harvested. Look at there. System certificates been modified. Some already know crypto wallet, right? File extensions. Here, a basic timeout. Let's run this one. What we can get from that. So we have here the name open FTP, run as administrator. It's running. Store again. Okay. I don't want to see event log. Okay. So we have here also the connection, right? From syslog, from here, from Sysmon, sorry. Sysmon also is capable to log to a network connection and related that to a process. So here we can also create the same lookup as we did for the Windows firewall log, for instance, or decorated one. See, we could use the same. There's no result for that IP. Okay. And let's see what's the behavior of the malware. What can we query here? Oh, it's starting. Okay, process injection. Exodus wallet. Let's see. No, no log for that. This appendix. System certificates. Output. Gorgeous. Let me see. Duplicate event. Come on. Yep, apparently did not run. Same, same things. Get one, another one. Okay. This one is process name. Okay. Let's download. Let's drop some binaries. Okay. So create a VBE here. Let's see. Look, the same path. So from a har, apparently, right? Exploded. The imp hash, MD5 hash, SHA-1 hash from the image. But this image is WS script, right? So it's not malicious. Let's see if we can get another category. Source modeling. Show total values. Let's see. This case, this malware drop some binaries, execute the my queries, create hidden processes. So all of those TTPs we could use to hunt here. And in this case, I'm looking for some traffic. Let's see here to malicious website, for instance. Let's try to find that. Network analysis. Host value. So TTP. Maybe here, and the summary is easier. So let's check connection network. Logger. Okay. 88996631. Eight eight nine nine 6631. So it connected. Here's the log. from that process, the BD process, to get probably the IP logger from the outside IP connection. It's the same behavior here. And we can check some TTPs as well. Let's see, Windows basic utilities. You see, it it created a task, right? Windows task. Let's try to find this usage. Tasks. Oh, we need to add an end. And okay, so we have some process create rules. And here the command lines use it. To create. Temp, system check. So look, what we could do is, okay, it's awkward. We have a scheduled task being created pointing to a temporary file, right? So what we could do here is to create a query to hunt like that. Command line. We could use here all temporary files like that. So where temporary files, where command line has temporary files embedded. Oh, let me see. No. Weird. Okay. This is one configuration Graylog. So Graylog has a configuration. Let's adjust that right now. Live server while here. Allow leading wildcard search is this kind of behavior. So we want to put the wildcard here in the beginning of the search. So we need to put that as true. Sorry about that. And restart Graylog. You start. Okay, yeah, we could remove the category as well and use only like a temp string as well. No problem. Would be similar to also. Yeah, yeah. Totally possible. Starting. It's loading the tables, you see? Loading the lookup tables. Not ready yet. It's Java, right? Let's wait. And from the see, it don't necessarily need codes. If you're using codes, it will understand as a full string. If you don't use codes, it will understand as kind of a regex, not regex. Has a specific syntax, its own syntax for that. So right now it's running. You can get the Graylog website as well. They have the syntax, query syntax. Let's run that again. So, okay, let's see. Here. So we can have a query, right? Telling that I'm using, I could use also here, command line, also telling, okay, someone is using scheduler task.exe is from Sysmon, is from sysinternals package to load scheduler in Windows, and using some configuration in the temp. This is not common when you're installing a software or something. Probably you'll install first the software in the program files, and after that we'll install any scheduler necessary. In this case, the malware installed a scheduler in the temp file. See? So let's check there. Where's the temp file? Scheduler, task scheduler. And the name is system check. This is probably all the malware. Actions. See?
Yes.
Crypt install, LSAS. It's using the name of a well-known software from Windows. right? All non-binary, WDM as well. So we have all this here. So we have here using a temp, right? For loading configuration to the registry, the scheduler. And this could be used by to hunt and also to create an alert, for instance. We could came to alert, definition, create event, TTP example, filter and aggregation is semi-query that we are using there. Looking back, see, 3 minutes, let's see. Execute the search every 3 minutes, for instance. And we can enhance the alert information and notify to email or to a couple of integrators. And when that hit, you show an alert. Here you can send that to email, to Telegram, etc. So we can hunt him based on TTP as well. In this case, a scheduler being registered, we could also, you see, and this one is not using the temp directory, but is quite awkward as well. On logon. So let's see what we can hunt also here. Process being created on hidden. Let's see if you'll find that. Oh, I forgot. Window, WinDriver. WinDriver. Save this. Here. Okay. So we have here also a process being created through that directory from bad file. And the image is that Alsace. And that Alsace, imp hash, MT5 hash, for instance. Okay, so now we are capable to also hunt for the behaviors, right? Hunt for the IOCs, all the process they created. And hunt for the communication, network communication as well, using a tool as Graylog, that is a community tool, right? They have also support as well, but it's basically a community tool that you can use to your own environment, standard PCs, using the Sysmon and using NXLog to collect this log, for instance, and send to your Graylog operation. And Graylog operation, you can also hunt and create alerts considering all those TTPs and IOCs and integrate information. And that was the idea in this workshop. We have still some minutes here. You have a great I'll add here Graylog search syntax, a very useful query language that you can use in Graylog to enhance your search, understand a little bit what you can use, what kind of syntax you can use. Oh, here we had the leading search that we dealt with. Sysmon as a support tool to enhance the visibility in the Windows machines, for instance, to create more information for process creation, network communication, registry environment, a couple of useful information. And I'll just go back a little to our PPT to give you some ideas, insights, something we discussed. For instance, we saw the lab. We discussed about the IOC onboarding process and the new data, right? New log being processed by and matched to that IOC. And we also check how can I use a new IOC to old logs using the decorator feature, for instance, right? And a couple of ideas on hypotheses where to hunt. We have some initial access, drive-by compromise, where you can, for instance, monitor for a browser process that is spawning a VB script, that is spawning a PowerShell, spawning a JSON, something like that, a JavaScript. And you can create rules to syntax that. You can have external remote service, like for instance, your VPN service, where you have your usual time logon, the IP reputation from your IOC list. You can have, for instance, the source IP coming from a different geo IP, geolocation IP from your operation. You have let's consider you have a VPN, you're a company based on Germany, and you having a logon with success logon in your VPN from Russia, for instance. This is not common for your environment. You can create a kind of a hunting and rule about that, and also implementing that in Graylog as well. So you can use spear phishing links with the URL on IOC list, for instance, your full URL on IOC list. You can have the sandbox integrated to see if that email, for instance, someone told here that are using Azure, right? In Office 365, you have the sandbox feature in some license. Then you can bring that information to your environment and see, okay, that email was sandbox, and the result was that is a phishing. And you can check that if that phishing was delivered to the end user or not, for instance, okay? So you can create detection and you can create hunting as well. Same thing as execution. You can, for instance, monitor for spawning from MS Office application, spawning a command line, spawning a VB script, spawning a PowerShell, spawning a CMD. Probably this is related to some exploitation on DDE from Office. We faced it and we tested a scheduled test monitor, right? So scripting, running, and registering some tests using the temp directory is not so common. You can have same as well from application, right? Okay, you have a scheduled task, and the parent process of that scheduled task was an Adobe, was in Java, for instance. This is a very common case when you have exploitation in this application and being used to register a new new task, register a new task on the Windows. Some scripting also, right? Some MS Office opening scripting files, some uncommon scripting in Windows like bash.exe. So you have some ideas or some hypotheses here as well. Some web shell content, some registry being run, account being created and added to security groups. You can have that being hunted as well and monitoring as a detection rule in the Graylog. Okay, this is just a couple of ideas that I have here for you in the slide deck. I'll send this slide deck to you all, but you can search for a lot of hunting hypotheses and ideas as well on internet, and also for instance, SOC Prime environment. They have some ideas in rule detection that can be used to hunt as well. And these can be done by using an open source environment like the one we noticed and we created here together. Guys and girls, this was pretty much from my side today. Do you have any questions, doubts, something I can support you?
Not currently, thank you.
Okay, so thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you can use this kind of environment, those ideas, situation on your daily based routines. I will prepare the slide deck as a PDF and send to Slack channel to everybody. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for your time today, Oliver. Thank you so much for your support.
Sure. Thank you, Bruno. Thank you very much for holding the workshop. I think it was very good content. I learned a lot of new stuff. So as Bruno said, the Slack channel will stay open. So if you have any questions over the course of the next week, it will close on next Sunday. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. Have a great evening. Also tomorrow and on Tuesday, there will be the conference talks happening. So hope to see you all there. And also I will paste a link to a survey form in the Slack channel as well. So feedback is always very welcome. So please take some time. It's only a couple of minutes to fill out the survey form, and this will help us a great deal to improve the further conferences. So yeah, not making it longer.
Thank you guys. Have a great conference, great week.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
And Bruno, thank you all for taking place. Bye-bye.